Welcome back. Outside Minds podcast. Because you've already seen too much, bro.
They only added it so it could be like a ritual.
They're saying there's these, the end of times, right? There's all these signs.
Do you think we would know? Like, do you think the general public would know this game?
Take a picture for $5. You have a purpose in life, and if you don't fulfill it, you will come back until you fulfill it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Outside Minds podcast. I'm your host and creator, Stilo Free. This is the other host and creator,
Dot420.
And we got another amazing guest. We've had so many amazing guests the last few weeks. We got another one, and her name is Reina LaFlame. We're going to send it right on over to her so she can tell you a little bit about herself and where you guys can find her.
Hi guys, my name is Reina. I go by Reina LaFlame on the interwebs. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Reina LaFlame. Super basic, no special spelling, Reina LaFlame. I am a tarot reader. I am an intuitive tarot reader, a holy fire Reiki practitioner, and a lover of all things spiritual and magical and human things.
Nice. So if you guys have been paying any kind of attention, if you guys followed me on my musical journey at all, you'll recognize this face. She did an interview for me when I was trying to get the campaign going and whatnot. You can find that on my YouTube channel.
It's an amazing interview. Check it out.
Stilo Free TV. Thank you for that. I want to ask you, how did you get into tarot reading?
So how I got into tarot reading was honestly, I've always been into spirituality and spiritual things. There was this reader specifically on Instagram. Her name is @Tatiana Tarot. That's TATI. Anna, ANA Tarot, and she was posting all of these cards of the day, cards of the week, energetic, and it was like speaking to my soul. Like specifically, it was like she was talking about things that I don't even talk to anyone about, and I was like, whoa, how is she knowing this, And I would like comment. I'd be like, you need to @ me next time, because it feels like you're speaking directly to me. And I felt the call to just go get my own deck, to go just go get a deck. Like something was telling me, get a deck, go get a tarot deck, like start getting into it. So I got the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, which looks just like this guy right here. I started with the classic. I went to the Psychic Eye here in Redondo Beach. The Psychic Eye is no longer open, but it's a psychic wellness store, and they had all types of cards and crystals. And yeah, I picked up the deck and I started pulling cards for myself, cards of the day, seeing how that felt, seeing how that resonated. I started pulling cards for friends and family, even customers at work that would come in that I'm like really cool with. I'm like, oh, can I pull a card for you? And they'd be like, oh my God, this is like makes so much sense and things like that. So after that was in 2018. I would say. Yeah, 2018, that's when I started doing that. And 2021, I started doing pop-ups and going out into the worlds and doing more tarot reading for strangers, which is kind of like my favorite thing. I started at 4th Street in Long Beach. They have a 4th Friday every Friday on 4th Street in Long Beach, where they have people vend, vintage market, all types of things. And I would pop up with my little table at my friend Marita's boutique. And then also I eventually moved to Skies for Miles, which is another boutique in Long Beach. Shout out to Marita and Skies for Miles in Long Beach, because they show me mad love. And they're the reason why I'm reading tarot today, because they gave me a space and a place to read, and the people came and they've been coming, and now it's 2025 and I've done corporate events now. I just did an event with Sonesta Hotels. I've done Mom 2.0. I do virtual reading, so like I can make you a video of me reading your cards and send it to you at your leisure. I do FaceTimes, all types of stuff. And now I've expanded and I started doing a little Holy Fire Reiki, which has just made my tarot readings even better. So good stuff.
Nice. I wanted to ask you, to me, tarot reading is kind of like, we talked about it with one of our guests, Optimistic Banks, a few weeks ago, and it's kind of like astrology, where it's kind of like one of the languages that the universe speaks to you from your higher self. That's how I like to describe it. How do you describe tarot cards if someone were to just ask you, like, what are they exactly?
That's a great question. I like to describe tarot cards as a way shower. It's like tarot is something that confirms what you already feel inside. It's like I really tap into your energy. I tap into your energetic field, into your higher self, and I'm really just a vessel, and the cards are just tools for me to communicate the messages that your higher self has for you. So it's a way shower. It's a map using the cards, and each card is an archetype. It's like a moment in time in your life that you could be going through, a scenario, a feeling, also maybe where you need to go next. So it's just a beautiful a divine tool that you can use to navigate and to get to greater places in life. It's just an amazing tool. So that's what I would describe tarot, and it's nothing scary. There's obviously scary cards, but it's something that you can use to help you grow and expand if you're willing to learn the language, just like astrology, because we all have power. Everything's powerful, so it's just a matter of being able to learn the language of the powers and things.
Okay, absolutely. Nice. So I want to talk about the major arcana because like you said, tarot cards are kind of like moments in time that describe your journey.
Yes.
So I want to talk about the Fool's journey.
Yes.
If you see right there on the second deck that's closest to her, that's the Fool card, right? So basically, can you talk about the major arcana and how the archetypes go from the Fool all the way to the World and kind of what story it tells?
Yeah. So the major arcana is beautiful. It's basically the story of the Fool, which is this guy right here, and the Fool represents, our inner child, that first step in the journey. And it's actually 0, which is funny. It's not number 1, it's 0, but it's the beginning of the deck. But also that also is a note to numerology, is that 0 is a waypoint. It's a portal. It's an opening, and it's like, I like to think of the Fool as it's when the Fool shows up for you, that's the universe showing that there's an opportunity, a portal for you to leap through, and it's up to you to find the courage to jump through. Because again, with the tarot, it shows you the way, but you have to choose the way, you know? So with the, I'll show you the Fool, you get pulled the Fool card, but if you don't find the courage and the strength to take the leap, you may not see that journey expand and open for you.
Opportunity, maybe.
Yeah, it could be a missed opportunity, or it could be just you're not ready for that opportunity just yet. So it becomes sort of like something that gets put onto the side. It's really like tarot. You choose what you get to do with the information. You know what I mean? With the Fool's journey, it's like I show you the way, like, hey, there's a portal opening for you. There's an opportunity for you to jump into, and you may or may not know what exactly that is. Some people, they know exactly what it is, and they're like, I've been having this feeling that I need to go after this, so they go after it. Or they feel as though, the fear gets to them and they don't take that leap of faith. But so from the Fool, we go to the Magician, we go to the High Priestess, we go to the Empress, the Emperor. And it's basically a journey of, like, I like to think of it as spiritual growth, to be honest. Like, you start with this portal with the Fool, and then you go into the Magician. When you jump through the portal, you realize this is a magical realm, and like everything is magical, and we have control of our reality, and we have tools around us, which looks like this guy right here, the Magician. Nice. So that's like the first step, realizing, hey, magic is real. I live in a magical world. And then step 2 is the High Priestess is listening to your intuition, tapping into that divine feminine. It's like, okay, now let's listen. Okay, let's integrate everything that the Magician taught us and listen to it. Let's integrate it. Let's find a way, find our spirituality in that sense. And then it goes from the High Priestess, it goes into the Empress, which is like now that you've tapped into your intuition, now that of the 2, the feminine energy of 2, you're going into 3, which is the creative energy, which is the child, which is depicted in the Rider-Waite traditional tarot deck as a pregnant woman, and there's a symbol of Venus in there because Venus is all about creativity. And it's like the 3 is like, okay, now that you have your intuition, it's like, what are you going to create with it? What are you going to make with it? I like to call that card, like, if you don't want to get pregnant, don't be careful when the Empress pops up. Also, though, it's like pregnant with a project baby. That's like, that's what you're pregnant with. It's like really like, I like to, like, how Kodak says, it's like a little project baby. This is like what you're working on. This is something that you need to birth into the world. And then with the Emperor, it's like, okay, the Emperor is like, all right, you got this idea, you got this intuition, you want to create something. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's have a business plan. Let's have organization. Let's have structure, which also relates to the number 4, which is all about foundations and strength. And then it moves into 5. And the 5th card is it the Lovers? Oh man. I'm like,
You could probably take us through the whole story.
Yeah,
if you wanted to.
We went over 4, right?
Yeah.
On the 47 episode.
What was the 4 card again? The
It's
highest?
Foundation. Remember? 'Cause
Yes,
we went
Foundation.
through the physical.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. It's like,
Exactly.
how can we create the physical aspect? I also like to call the Emperor like the dad energy card. It's like, okay, you're like your dad is, the father figure in your life is usually the one that like disciplines you and gets you to realize like what needs to get done, what needs to be prioritized. So that's like when that shows up. And 5 is like more fun. It's more free. It's escaping me what number 5 is right now. I think it's the Lovers, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the Lovers.
Let's talk about the time aspect of it, because you said the cards are going to tell you kind of more about what time you're at in your life,
yes,
or in your journey per se,
yes,
spiritual journey,
yes.
It could be job, career, relationships, or anything like that. But I wanted to talk about this because, and I'll bring up the Wheel of Fortune card, because the Wheel of Fortune kind of gives you the idea of like ebbs and flows. Like the Wheel of Fortune is kind of like life goes up, life goes down. You know what I mean? So with that being said, a lot of people get the misconception that the cards are going to tell you what your future is. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, so, with the tarot cards, we can obviously, if you have a specific question, you're like, I want to know what's going to happen within these 6 months. We can tap into the 6 months and stuff like that. But it's like I said, it's a possible roadmap as to what's going to happen, and your actions are going to control what happens next. It's like the butterfly effect. If I give you this advice and you decide not to follow it, then the rest of the things I said was going to happen isn't going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to follow the inklings, you have to follow the confirmation, you have to follow your intuition, your guides.
It's like the cause and effect.
Yeah. I like to call myself a tarot catalyst. I meet people, I like start people on their journey. Like catalysts is start people, they show people the way, and it's like up to you to pick up the pieces. I kind of tell people, like, I give people like soul homework, like things that they have to work on. So for example, if the Judgment card comes up in a reading, I'm like, oh, you need to work on the way you're judging yourself and the way you're judging others. That's like some of your homework. It's like maybe you're judging yourself so much to the point of that you can't move. You've got yourself in analysis paralysis because you're judging yourself so much. And obviously it depends on like the other cards that are next to it and stuff like that. So when it comes to time frames, it's like the tarot is going to be for whatever you ask it for, and then if you follow the steps. So yes, it's like I show you a possible way, but again, you have to like follow yourself to see the way that I showed you, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, you're giving us a lot of the feelings of the cards and stuff like that, but I wanted you to get into how people might misconcept some cards as good or bad.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about that? How cards aren't really good or bad, but they're really kind of more. The interpretation of them can be maybe less favorable.
Like the Death card.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, of course. There's a lot of misconceptions about tarot, about certain cards, like for the Death card. That's a good one. People are like, when that card comes out, they're like, oh no, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Or like someone's gonna die around me. And like, yes, sometimes it can note to like an actual, death that's going to happen in your life. But really, it's a transformation. It's an opportunity for something to die that cannot go along with you on the next path. Because if you look at the Death card, it's a dead king riding a white horse back into the city, back into his kingdom, and like people are like praying and crying by his feet. But there's also that like white flower, and if you pay attention, it's a white rose. The white rose is actually the same white rose that's on the Fool card. Yeah, so it's all connected, and it's like, also, it's reminding you with that white rose, it's purifying you, it's cleansing you. You're being released of the things that no longer serve you. And he's moving. It's a card of
because
movement.
Also life is death is rebirth.
Yep.
And that's kind of one of the main aspects or lessons that you learn when you're learning about,
Yeah. And if you don't understand death, you can't understand anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Death is so important, and you have to, and like, it's more than just, I've had my near death experiences and things like that. And like people that have dealt with with like deaths in the family in their life, they're at a different level. That, you know, they experience things differently. So the death card, you know, it's just a way of transformation. Think of it like a butterfly. When a butterfly is a caterpillar and then it goes into the cocoon, did you know when the caterpillar goes into that cocoon, the caterpillar literally turns into mush, like turns into like liquid sludgy, and then turns into a butterfly. And it's like, that's like what the death card's about. And then like for our other cards, like the judgment card, like I talked about. What's another card that people are get? Oh, the devil. That's a good card. Yeah. People get really scared by that, but I think the devil card is beautiful because it shows you what you're chained to, what you're shackled to, like the habits that are like holding you back. So it's not necessarily like there's like devilish demonic energy in your life, but you have bad habits, you have shadows, and we all have shadows sides to ourselves, you know. And then
I mean, it's showing you these ideas through like a Christian lens.
Yes,
because it's showing you like, you know, Christian iconography, like the Tower card. A lot of people associate that with the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
The Lover's card, the Devil's card has Adam and Eve on it and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, you know, there's different tarot sets that kind of give you these ideas through different symbology. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So tarot is beautiful because now, you know, Pamela Coleman Smith was the original artist for the Rider-Waite deck, which is the main deck that we use to this day. And shout out to her because she's, you know, she's a way shower. You know, I think she was a real magic occultist in herself, and that's why she was able to create these mystical images and things. But people, you know, they meditate with the cards, they meditate with the energy, and that's how they have these different variations of the decks, like the Back to the Future deck. That's like a gorgeous way to like tell the story in different images and things like that, because it doesn't, these are, you know, the original set of cards that we were given, but also it's like people, once you work with the tarot so much, it can show you different ways of the cards showing themselves to you. So it's like with the wheel, with the world card, I think of that as a
I love the world card.
Yeah, I love the
that's
world
number
card.
21.
Yes.
And it represents completion.
Yes.
And it's the last card of the Major Arcana.
Yes.
Right? So
And
it's
when
like
the
last
world
step of the
card is,
journey.
yes, exactly. So when you're getting the world card, it's like, you're like, whoo, I'm doing it. I'm doing the damn thing. I should be proud of myself.
See
I
the
should be
finish
happy.
line.
Yes. And also, I also think of it, my friend, Psychic Goddess Erica, you can check her out on YouTube and Instagram, Psychic Goddess Erica. She is amazing. She also enlightened me to the idea that the world card is also like social media. It's also like the internet, like putting yourself out there into the world. So since you completed all this healing, you completed all this integration, time to bring it into the world, time to talk about it, time to show it. So there's like a lot of really beautiful ways to like really tap in. And then honestly, if you like, when it comes to the tarot in the different ways, it's like you gotta like, people meditated with that energy. They really tapped into the energy of the card, and it showed them the different ways. Because again, the illustrations on the card are a channeling that she got. You know, this is all channeled messages, and we all have the power to channel, and that's why there's so many different variations of tarot to this day, and that they're beautiful, and yeah, I love it. And I like to use oracle decks along with the tarot to help expand the story a little bit more.
Okay, nice. So I wanted to talk about the Magician.
Yes.
And the world card as well. A lot of people don't know that you're not only doing, you know, divination or fortune telling when you're using tarot cards, but you can also use them for manifestation or protection. That's why I like the Magician, because the Magician is almost kind of like starting a project, and the world is kind of almost like completing the project. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about using the cards for different purposes?
Yeah, of course. I actually went to the very first ever Los Angeles Festival of Tarot this past weekend, so that was amazing. Yeah, I got to meet Mary Kay Greer, which is a tarot legend. She wrote Tarot for the Self, which is a really beautiful deck about using tarot as manifestation and as a manifestation tool. It's like a workbook of like how you can work with tarot. And she also has a lot of great other books and tarot decks and stuff like that. And she talks about how when it comes to like people didn't think about using tarot for manifestation for a long time. Like it wasn't until maybe like 1996 people started like thinking about it as a tool. It was more like a fortune telling sort of thing. And she kind of like paved the way, Mary Kay Greer, for people to start using astrology and like manifestation ways. But
let me amplify this idea into your consciousness.
And then also it's like it became something like tarot was like something you do for other people, and it wasn't something that you do for yourself. So that became she kind of, you know, made it like, you should use this on yourself and you should use this to grow. So one way that I like to use tarot for manifestation is like, you could pull, you can pull cards of the month, like what's expecting energy. Also, you can work with specific cards like the Magician, like he talked about. You can set the Magician on your table, and you're about to journal or write some creative ideas, and you have that Magician energy in front of you activating the space and the place, so that way you can tap into that resource. Or you could use maybe the Strength card. The Strength card is a great card to use for manifestation, to give you the strength to overcome any challenges, any obstacles in your path, etc., etc. That's another card that you can work with. You can meditate with that card. You can also working with the colors of the tarot too. There's lots of different colors, like the yellows, the reds, and the Magician card, and like the white, like the purity. So like you can either eat your colors, working with the chakras that are coming out the most, like if you're pulling a lot of cards that have lots of blue, like maybe you need to work with your third eye chakra. Your throat chakra a lot more. Clearly my third eye is really open. I'm all talking about it. But yeah.
So let's talk more about the Magician, so you can get a little bit into the symbology of it. Can you talk about what he has on the table and how that pertains to the minor arcana?
Yeah, of course. So on the Magician card, he's got the cup, the pentacle, the wand, and the sword, which all represent the four minor arcanas in the deck. We have the cups cards, the pentacles, the wands, and the swords, and they all correspond to different elements. The swords is air, the wands is fire, the cups is water, and the pentacles is earth. And with the Magician card, with all those magical symbols being on the table in front of you, it's kind of reminding you to use all of the elements in your practice, so
it's like having all the tools and able to have the manifestation, right?
Yeah, and exactly. And it's like, also we talked about this past weekend, we talked about like how can you work with that energy more? So like with the air swords, how do you breathe? How do you think? How do you uplift yourself, because air is like high in the ethers. And then like with earth, how do you nourish yourself? How do you ground yourself? How do you move through this material realm? With the cups, it's like, what do you fill yourself up with? What do you consume? What is like, how do you nourish yourself? And then like with the wands, it's like, how do you rise? Because the wands is all about, it's a fire element, but also it's about activating yourself. So what activates you? How do you rise in the morning? What makes you want to like move faster in the world, like fire does? So that's like ways that you can work with the elements. And the Magician is just a magical card when you're trying to embody more magical energy, like because it's all about starting the way and showing the way, but also you're trying to see more magic in your life. So that's a beautiful way to use it to manifest, and it has a lot of power. It's a great thing when the Magician card comes up, and if it comes up reversed, that's a way of showing you like, maybe you're not utilizing your power. Maybe you're not tapping into your magic. You need to see yourself. And that's another thing when it comes to tarot with the reversals. Reversals aren't necessarily bad things. Usually it's about you when it's reversed. It's like, okay, so like the Magician card.
It just means like maybe fixing the aspect of whatever that card represents.
Yeah. It's like for example, if it's upright, the Magician's like, oh, there's magic all around, and you tap into the magic, tap into your resources. Upside down, it's like you're trying not to see the magic. You're not seeing the magic around you. You're not using your resources. And it's like you have to like kind of reevaluate.
So
that.
like you said, it's not good or bad. It's just where you're at in your journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing in tarot is good or bad. It definitely shows you things you need to work on. Your shadows, and people that have a hard time seeing themselves and seeing their shadows and seeing what they need to work on. That can be difficult for them to hear. So when it comes to tarot, you have to come into it with an open mind. You have to come into it with an open heart and be willing to change and grow. Because it's gonna expand you if you're willing to listen and be there. So.
When they invented the original decks, it wasn't even nothing to do with spirituality or anything, right? It's just like a family game with the original four suits. They used to call them the trump cards.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like Loteria, like you know what I mean? Similar to that. Yeah, and it was like a card game, And I know still some people that read with traditional playing cards, like they don't even use the tarot cards because like the hearts would be the cups.
Yeah, because it's just four suits and A deck.
Yeah, and there's the kings and queens and
I
like
think
the
there's one
jester.
extra in the minor arcana in the suits, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's why it's 21.
The mage or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I could be wrong.
Like the mage. I'm like, wait.
It's the something of the suit.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a king, queen, and the something.
Oh,
of the suit.
page. The page. Yes.
page,
Yes.
yeah.
There you go.
And
Yeah, I
it
was like,
it was around for like 3 centuries before they turned it into like spirituality.
Yeah. like
yes.
that's crazy.
Yeah, very popular in Italy.
Yeah,
it was like a really big
The-
playing card game in
yep.
Italy. And it's funny because it's just a divination tool like in the Norsemen and people like that. They use
Yep.
bones,
Yep.
to breed and scurry, and like they had like, or in Delphi, the oracles of Delphi, they would like look into the water and like it would speak to them and stuff like that. So it's just another tool, you know. And then I think tarot became popular because people needed to see something. People got tired of hearing the channel. They're like, how do I know you're really tapped in? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like they wanted to see something physical in front of them. So yeah, the tarot. Because sometimes when I start like meditating and tapping into someone's energy, I start seeing certain things. They're like, oh my God, how did you know? And I'm like, I'm just tapping
Energy.
in. Yeah. So my readings are very intuitive. They're very channeled. And I feel like I show people what's upcoming next, and stuff like that.
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
So that's why I like call myself a catalyst and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a beautiful journey. If you feel the call to pick up tarot, go for it. Go after it and work with it. It's an
I
amazing
hear a lot
tool.
of people when they start, what they'll do is they'll just get a deck and they'll just pull a card every day and just
Mm-hmm.
figure out what the meaning is and ponder the meaning all day and go through the deck.
Yeah, what I like to do, what I tell a bunch of beginners and people that are new to tarot, I'm like, get a deck, pull a card every day, write what you think it means. Like first intuitively, what are the symbols that are speaking to you? Like, is it, the stuff on the table? Is it the as so below? Is it the infinity? Is it the colors? Is it the flowers?
Mm-hmm.
It all has meaning. So really tapping into that, journaling that, and then, looking up what the actual meaning is, and then just live through the day. Tarot will show you through experience. You know what I mean? And you'll be like, oh, that's what I was talking about. And then,
that's the high priestess
yeah,
right there
you're like, there
popping
goes
up.
that intuition
Yeah.
and that intuitive
There-
nudge,
yeah.
the page of cups. That's like a sign that a spiritual sign is showing an opportunity for like love and growth and things like that. So yeah, just being open to the things happening. So yeah.
Yeah, talking about manifestation and protection. I saw this guy the other day he just happened to pop up on my TikTok, and he was like, "Yeah, if you ever feel like someone's lying to you or there's a truth around that needs to be revealed, grab the High Priestess card and just keep it with you because she's the one that'll show you. She'll lift the veil and show you the hidden truth."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. And that's a beautiful way to use the cards. Like you can put them at your altar, at your desk. Another card that I like to use is the 9 of Cups, because that's all about wishes getting granted and dreams coming true. And it's like I like to think of it as the 9 cups are like 9 genie bottles, because he's a genie sitting in the middle, and he's like, you can't just have one wish, you can have it all. So it's like really decide. So when the 9 of Cups comes out, I'm like, yes, I'm like, dream of mine is coming true, like a wish is coming true. That's a beautiful card to work with when you're just trying to tap into more abundance. And also with like 9 of Cups, like also it's like numbers, like all the numbers have like meaning. How you were talking about the 4 is like foundations, like the 9 is like the
Numerology.
learned lesson. Yeah, the numerology of it all. There's 9 is the learned lesson, 10 is the completion, so there's amazing so many symbols in tarot, so I love it so much.
Speaking of the 9 of Wands, you said, are there any other favorite cards that you have yourself?
Yeah, so 9 of Cups for sure is one of my favorite cards.
Oh, sorry, 9 of
Yeah,
Cups.
no worries. 9 of Cups, I love that card. I love the Star. The Star is a really beautiful card because it's the Aquarius card.
Okay.
And it's all about hope and faith and belief and that like reaching for the stars. And also it's like a symbolization on the card. The woman, she's kneeling and pouring water into the river, and she has 1 foot in the river and 1 foot on the earth. And that's like really beautiful symbolization, how we have 1 foot in the ethers and 1 foot on this plane ourselves, And when that card comes up, it's like your future is bright. You have bright things coming to you. You have good things coming to you. There's the 8 pointed star on there, which relates to Venus, which is like the eight petals of Venus, the 8 rotations of Venus. It takes 8 rotations for Venus to go around the sun and things like that. So it's really that's another gorgeous card to work with. The Star, the Magician. I love the Magician. 9 of Cups. What's another card that I love? I'm like, I know there's another card that I really love. I'm trying to think.
Can I tell you one of my favorites?
Yeah, of course.
Because when I was reading into like how it's tied to astrology and stuff, I was like, okay, what's the Sagittarius card?
Oh,
and
yes.
I looked it up, and it's Temperance.
Ah.
And it's another lady who's kind of like pouring water and stuff like that. And I was like, why isn't this the Aquarius card? And I started to think about it, and Temperance is kind of like more about like, holding your temper, or like keeping those addictions at bay, or trying to keep everything balanced and stuff like that. And it makes sense that that's the Sagittarius card, because Sagittarius is this fire sign, this energy that has a very stubborn willpower. You know what I mean? When you want something, you're gonna get it, like no matter what. That's just me. That's Sagittarius. You know what I mean? So that can go a good way, but that can also go a bad way.
Yeah.
That can lead to bad habits. That can lead to addiction and stuff like that. So I feel like the embodiment of the Temperance card is something that's good for Sagittarius, and it kind of makes sense that that's this card that's attributed to the Sagittarius sign.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I'm a Sagittarius moon, so I totally feel that
nice.
With that card. It's like with the Temperance, we get so excited. Sagittarius, we have excitement, we've got energy, we've got passion, we've got fire, but it's like really like, okay, like cooling the water. So like, remember just staying grounded. And also I think it's a beautiful card for Sagittarius because it's a little angel. Archangel Gabriel is supposedly the angel that's connected to Temperance. So maybe tapping into Archangel Gabriel would be really cool for you. But Archangel Gabriel on that card, is also like a symbolization, I think, of like Sagittarius is like connection to the divine. Sagittarius is a half man, half horse. So it's like, yes, you are human, but also you're an animal, and you're connected to the earth and to the animals and all of these things. And also, yeah, like you said, Temperance, you got to keep your temper. And also with meditating, when you really want to meditate, when you start feeling those high frequencies, as soon as you get excited, drops you back.
Yeah.
It's like, you like that a little bit too much. You got a little too excited. Yeah, you have to. You can't be so, oh my God, I'm feeling the energy. I'm so excited. And then it will drop you because it's like, oh, you got too excited. You have to keep your temperance, be calm, cool, and collect. That's like a lesson in meditation.
Flow too close to the sun.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like, oh, you're doing too much. So we'll drop you. But Nine of Cups, the Star card, also the Hermit, because you talked about the Hermit is the Virgo card. I'm a Virgo sun, and I love the Hermit card because it's not telling you to be alone. It's telling you to be intentional with your alone time. Like, what are you doing when you're alone? Okay. Like, how are you tapping in? Are you running away when you're alone, or are you like going into solitude? There's a difference between isolation and solitude, and I think the Hermit card is all about solitude and taking time to be in your own light and your own energy and tapping into your own, Gandalf the Great inside of you, because I always think of the Hermit card. He reminds me of like Gandalf the Great from Lord of the Rings, because he's like got the magical staff, and it's how we have this divine wisdom inside of us, but you have to be alone enough to be able to hear yourself enough to even tap into that magical wise sage inside of us, So that's another one of my favorite cards too.
Nice. Yeah, that to me, that card represents when the fool is on his journey. He needs to work on himself.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I want to talk about that a little bit because, different readers or different people might have different interpretations of the cards slightly or whatever. Can you talk about that? Because let's say, I want to get a reading from, this tarot reader, and I want to get a reading from this tarot reader. The message is going to be from my higher self, yet the means is going to be different because the interpretations of the cards might be a little bit different. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Just like the interpretation, the card, the interpreter, and the message, right?
Yeah, no, of course, because like I said, tarot is a tool, and obviously it has like a set of meanings that, they had intended for the deck when it was first created. But as readers continue to work with the deck and go through it with their own experiences, culturally, environmentally, they experience different things with the cards. They interpret it in different ways. So that's how, some readers have different interpretations of different cards. That doesn't mean that one reader is like more correct than the other one. It could just be the message that you need to receive from at the time.
And your higher self knows all of this.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So like, for example, the Three of Swords is like, could be about heartbreak or cheating, but also it could denote to just sadness and depression. It doesn't have to be like you're getting cheated on, or you're about to break up in your relationship, or it could be you just experienced a death in the family, or like you're going through a lot of sad changes, things that are making you heartbreak, you know. So yes, you could look at it as like, oh, it's just like a heartbreak is coming, but also you have to expand it. And also like the Lover's card, I don't like to just look at the Lover's card as like, oh, love is coming for you, love, like, you know, a person for you to love. I also look at it as like an opportunity for you and your higher self to come together and create a life that you love. So that's like, you know, my interpretations of like love and the lovers. It's not just like, you know, romantic love. There's platonic love. There's like universal love. There's like intellectual, you know, types of ways of love and things like that. So that's why I love the Lover's card. I like to look at it in different ways. And I think also when it comes to an interpreter's reading of the tarot, it's like, how have they worked with it? How has the card shown up in their life? And that's how they kind of, you know, deliver their messages to you. But again, we are just channels for the tarot. Anything that was coming to you, we're just tapping into your higher self. Like we're just a vest. We're like a cup, and it's like filling us up. You know what I mean? And then we're like telling you. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Do you do any other forms of divination?
I like to do bibliomancy, so I love all these books over here.
Oh, okay.
So bibliomancy is one of my favorites. I like to grab a book. I like to put my hands on it and be like, higher self, show me a message through this book. Open it to a random page, you know, fill it out. Do I need to go left side, left side, and then like look down and be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. So bibliomancy is a fun way.
Wow. Never heard of that one.
Yeah.
You didn't know that's how I think it was Papa Roach, but
System of a Down.
What's his name?
And Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. He was like, open this page in the Bible.
Yeah,
and he just
yeah.
opened the page, and that
Yes,
became the lyric
one
right
of the
there.
bridges from the
Yep.
song is from one of the books, the Gospels, where they're describing Jesus when he's on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Why have
You
you
forsaken
forsaken
me?
me?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
then- and that's how they pulled that lyric.
Oh,
And it's the same thing.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they open the book, open the page, and bam.
Yeah, books have always been my first love. I'm a child of the library. I grew up in the library, so I love books. I love using it for bibliomancy. That's an amazing tool. Also, another divination tool, what do I use? I kind of just like ask the universe. It's like I talk to the universe. I'm like, show me a sign.
You know a lot about astrology.
Oh yeah,
as well,
astrology.
too, right?
Yeah, working with astrology. Yeah, I'm big with astrology.
And there's so many different ways you can work with astrology.
Yeah,
right? Like the transits.
Yeah, the
and
transits, the
and the
progressions, the houses, the planets themselves. Just even working with the planet themselves. Like right now, a planet that I'm working with. I'm about to go through my Saturn return. Saturn just transitioned into Aries on May 24th. It's going to be in Aries for the next 3 months, and then it's going to regress back into Pisces. So anyone that has Saturn in Pisces, you're gonna get a 3-month break before it's on your ass again. And then when Saturn goes, so while Saturn is in Pisces, you can use Saturn. Saturn can propel you forward, or it can bring you back, because Saturn's like Big Daddy. It's like, you know, it's the biggest planet, but it's also like it's not the biggest planet. It has like that ring. So it's all about like boundaries. Like, how are your boundaries with people? Testing your boundaries. Do you have weak boundaries? Do you have strong boundaries? And like you learn that. But Saturn is a beautiful planet that you can use to help you grow and expand. And also like the cards also relate to certain planets. So for example, I think it's the Four of Wands corresponds to Jupiter and Aries. So also the tarot cards relate to actual planetary aspects, like Jupiter being in a specific sign.
Oh,
yeah, so that's really interesting too.
Everything connects.
Yeah, everything connects, you know, so that's like another thing that I learned recently, that it has to do with certain planets and aspects and stuff like that. But using like for example, I like to work with the moon phases, and also like the planetary changes, like when Saturn just made changes. It's 2025 right now when we're recording this, and we're having 3 major transits. Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are making moves for the first time in like so many years. So like we have the opportunity to make big change, but it's going to be the beginning, and then we just have to like keep going. Okay. But I like to like pull cards on new moons, full moons, new moons. I like to pull cards asking like, what do I need to grow? What type of seeds do I need to plant? Because the moon is dark. So that's like it's a good manifestation time, an amazing manifestation time. Okay. Full moons are when you want to release things. I know some people say not to work with the eclipses, but me personally, I work with the eclipses. I think it's powerful. King royal energy, like if there's this podcast called the Astrology Podcast, and they have an amazing episode about the eclipses. I gotta send it to you, Jeremy, because you'll trip out, because it's so crazy, like how kings are related to eclipses and things like that. So pulling cards from the eclipses, what is this eclipse here to show you? What is this moon phase here to show you? What is this transit here to show you? And then using the cards to like break it down for you when you're like, I don't get what this means. So yeah.
Speaking of eclipses, I saw on TikTok recently that supposedly the Vatican has this crucifix that bleeds during solar eclipses.
Oh wow,
is that insane?
I wouldn't be surprised. The Vatican's got a whole.
They got everything down there.
Yeah, I was just about to say, they got that whole magic library down there. They're the ones trying to keep us all like, locked down. Yep. How do you? I don't even want to talk about the new Pope. I'm like, that was sort of whole. Man. That was sort of
George,
whole
American
Georgia dude.
My mom's like, did you see the Pope's shoes? He got red bottoms. You know what that means?
Yeah. You're like, you know what that means? I was just mad it wasn't the Filipino guy. I'm half Filipino, so like I really wanted the Filipino Pope. And he was like super woke and like super cool. And like the Philippines, they take Catholicism seriously. Like the colonization really got them, you know what I mean? And they rock with it heavy. So that's definitely something interesting. And also like the transits of like when he like of major things, like also like pulling cards on when you want to open a business. And also let's say you're about to move into an apartment and you have a date. So what you can do is, another thing you can use tarot is you can add the date of the month, the date, and the year. Add up each number, kind of like numerology for finding your life path number. And whatever number you get, let's say you get 17, 1 plus 7 is 8. So that's what the strength card. So, and then that's like the energy of like that day as well. So there's like, doing the birth card, like doing that with your birthday, adding up your birthday, and that's going to give you your birth card. And then, you can do that for like business events. Like, you want to look at the tarot card of this podcast, look at the day that you guys made your first episode and add up all the numbers. And that's the tarot card of the podcast and stuff. Yeah. Or like when you're moving in, your birthday, your personal card. I think my personal card is Justice, actually. Justice, or the High Priestess, which I think is really interesting. So yeah, it's interesting to get into. You do your card of the year, so it's like you do your birthday and then the year that you're turning whatever age, and add that all together. That's another way you can use tarot to show you things. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming through. It's been amazing. Do you want to do like a quick 3-card spread for the podcast?
I was just about to say, if we have some time for you guys to do a quick spread, if you don't mind.
Yeah, do a quick 3-card pull.
Yeah.
Let us know where we're at in the Outside Minds podcast journey,
yes,
please.
Yes. So how this works, I'm going to do a timeless message for anyone and everyone whenever they see this. Calling upon all of your higher selves and
this
all of the universal.
This message is for you right now. Yes. If you're watching this at any point in time.
Yes.
All y'all.
Yes. Any point in time. Doesn't matter when. This is a message for you guys. And I'm going to do one card from 3 of my decks because I like to use multiple decks to help reinforce the message.
I got to show you this one after, like the Guillermo del Toro one.
Oh,
It has a really good artwork on it.
It looks amazing.
Yeah,
so
it has all of Guillermo del Toro's movies on it.
Oh,
like the symbology
that's
from his
awesome.
movies.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. I think I've seen that deck before, but I haven't gotten into it. Right now, I'm going to be using the Radiant Wise Tarot. Oh, oopsies. It's okay. We're going to make it work. I like the Radiant Wise Tarot. It's basically like the classic Rider-Waite Tarot, but it has like a Renaissance tinge vibe to it.
Feel to the art.
Yeah, like a little bit of a sepia, or like, I don't know, it has like a Renaissance tinge. It makes it feel Renaissance-y to me. And then I'm going to be using also the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck by Marcella Kroll. This is the 3rd edition, so she's had 3 different versions of this deck. This one's awesome. It's a new deck that I was gifted by my Holy Fire Reiki teacher, Rana. Shout out Rana. I love her.
Shout out Rana.
Yes. Woo, yes. Yes, she's awesome. And then also the last deck I'm going to be using is the Soundtrack Oracle. This one is by Kaleidoscope, like Kaleidoscope, but Kaleidodope. So they make really cool stuff. Yeah, it's a black owned deck. So, I just thought I'd bring different things. Marcella Kroll is, I think, indigenous or of some sort, or brown at least. So yeah. And then I like to use tools in my practice. So feel like
I've always the Ankh right there. I love the
I've
Ankh.
got the Ankh. This is also made by my friend Rana. So this has been infused with Holy Fire Reiki. We've got copper on the back. We've got some moss that she literally picked up as she was traveling across America. And we've got some aquamarine in there. I've been really working with that. And then I have a clear quartz. So these are just
is radiating.
Yes, I just like I have many safety tools, or what is safety blankets. So yeah, let's get into it. I like to do 3 cleansing deep breaths as we get into it. So whenever you're watching this, go ahead and take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through our mouth. We want to fill up our belly button, fill up the air into our belly button as we're breathing in. And as we exhale, we want to bring our belly button closer to our spine. Thank you, honorable ancestors. Thank you, honorable spirit guides. Thank you, honorable sun, moon, earth, fire, water, air, for the highest good of all involved, the most divine of all involved. Tapping into universal, conscious, divine, source energy. What does anyone and everyone that is going to watch this amazing episode of the Outside Mind podcast, what do they need to know right now? Higher self message. Wisdom, clarity, truth come through. Oh, okay, we got a quick message. So we got the 5 of Cups, which is very interesting. So whenever you're watching this, whenever you see this, you are not noticing a beautiful blessing in your life. You're kind of too busy focusing on what you've lost, what you don't have, what you're lacking, what you think you quote unquote need at the moment, when there's beautiful opportunities around you. It's like when this card, the main focus is this man, and he spilled 3 of his cups, and he's like, oh God, I spilled my cups. Like, what is going on? Like, I can't believe I did that. And he's just upset about it, and he's sad, and it's bringing him down. But also it's like, but there's more, but you have more. You still have 2 cups behind you. So if you feel like you've made a mistake, if you feel like you've messed things up, maybe you feel like you started something and it didn't start the way that you wanted it to start, and it's made you feel defeated or a failure. A failure is just an opportunity for you to grow and expand on that. Like, a rejection is just a redirection. Just because one door closes doesn't mean that there isn't a bunch of doors that are still open for you. So being mindful of like where you're letting your mind go. Get control of your mind, because this is like, you need to change the way you're feeling emotionally, so that way you can continue to grow and show up for yourself in the ways that you want.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I want to stop you real quick and ask a question.
Of course.
Also, too, the cards can kind of change meaning the way they relate to each other when you pull the other ones, correct?
Yes.
Like, not change meaning per se, but kind of give you a little bit more to the story
as
to what, a certain card might mean.
Yeah,
correct?
exactly. And then since I won't pull another card, I just look at what's going to be at the bottom of the deck. The bottom of the deck is another way that I can usually tap into the theme of what's going on. Ooh. And we've got the 6 of Swords at the bottom. So there's some sort of spiritual mental ascension that's going on, and it's going to start with you emotionally having to feel like you've got things, and that emotionally recognizing the things that you have and being grateful, being thankful in the moment, and not being so like, woe is me. This is like, comparison is a thief of joy. So stop comparing yourself to other people. You just have to, like, you are on your point in time in the journey when you're supposed to be. Everything happens in divine timing, so just being okay with that. And also you're not going to be like this for long. With the 6 of Swords coming out, it's like you're moving, you're traveling, you're changing. If you want to travel, the opportunities to travel can grow and happen for you. Also, it's like mentally you're changing the way you think. You're not going to be thinking the same way you were before this episode. You're going to look differently, or giving you the opportunity to expand your mind, to be able to open and see things in a different light. So yes, that is the expanding. And then as for the sacred symbol, what's a sacred symbol that everyone needs to know right now? Oh, we got a jumper. 2 cards. Okay, look, I tried to do 1, but there's 2. So we've got Stormy and we've got Divinity. So this is awesome. So it seems like you guys are going to be going through lots of storms in your life, going through lots of transitions, lots of changes, lots of growth. And it's funny because this card has like ocean and moving too. So it looks like you guys are going to be moving through some tough emotions, some deep emotions, maybe chaotic, stormy waters. And you're going to have to tap into your divinity to be able to stay strong. Tap into the divine, pray about it, give up the problems that you feel like you can't solve up to God, up to the universe. Oh, what's beautiful too is that this is 20 and then this is 21. So that's just interesting because the cards were not in order and they just happened to fly out like that. So it's like, yes, you are going through something that's stormy, that's rocky, but it's tapping you in closer to your divinity. Nice. It's a key. You know what I mean? When something tragic happens to us, it's an opportunity to break us open to feel more love.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. Exactly. So tapping into your divine, and then the 2 cards that flew out of the soundtrack deck are deep and gut feelings. And then we've got 20. Oh, you know what's crazy? 21 and 11.
Okay.
So 21 is like a big
that
number for you
world
guys.
card again.
Yeah. We were talking about the word.
21.
It hurt us talking about it. So listening to the gut feelings. The gut feelings that you have are trying to show you something deep. Get deeper with yourself. Get deeper with life. Get deep into your body. Feeling your body. What is your body trying to show you? And really tap in because you have the opportunity, like with the 11, intuition, 21, the world. You have the ability to really go deep if you are able to listen to these gut feelings. Listen to the divinity as you're transversing these stormy waters, as you're trying to get over the things that you may have messed up on or made mistakes on, to tap into your intuition and get deep with it. And yes.
I'm getting a message. 21 is also the date usually for the solstice or the equinox.
Oh, yes.
So it gives you opportunity for change.
Yes, exactly. Yep, exact. See? Tapped in. We all have magical powers, and like I said,
Let's go.
When I do readings for people too, I like to let you guys choose the oracle deck. I'll have like a bunch of oracle decks. I'd be like, which deck is calling you? And they'll be like, oh my god, that's the exact deck that I needed to hear. And I'm like, yep, because we all have the power. You know, I'm just actively tapping in and talking to you with it. So if you feel the call, you know, we all can tap in, you know. And then just protecting yourself and grounding yourself, because like you said, when you're tapping into tarot, it is an occult, you know what I mean? Like it is an occult practice, and you're opening yourself up to energies. Don't forget to ground yourself and protect yourself, because there are people that definitely that like to use this for darker purposes. But also it's like there's so much beautiful energy that you can connect with, like the earth energy, water energy, fire energy, air energy, and like the tarot reminds you of that.
Learning about it is fun. You learn new things. You learn about where you're at on your path and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Reina LaFlame, excellent guest.
Follow her for sure.
Yes,
she's gonna be doing
you.
energy work soon.
Yes.
Hit her up. Follow her if you need readings done, anything like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in again. This has been another excellent episode of the Outside Minds podcast. I'm your host and creator, Stilo Free. This is the other host and creator,
Dow420.
and we out.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you guys. Bye.